All right, long time no see, and I don't even know if you've seen some of the cars that I've got now. I think you saw the M2, maybe, who knows. I did have a Mustang last time you saw me. I don't have a Mustang anymore. I sold the Mustang literally today. And I'll be honest, I did not like that car, which is why I sold it, obviously. But yeah, I've still got a 370, still very much unfinished, as you can see. Yeah, maybe one day, but for now, that project is kind of on hold. But that's not the subject of this video. The subject of this video is the M2. I'm gonna go for a drive. I'm probably not gonna talk too much, because I've actually been quite enjoying a lot of the kind of POV drives that you see on YouTube of someone just going out for a cruise in the car and just doing a few pulls, doing a few skids. You know, we'll do all of that. And yeah, try and capture some good audio and some good POV shots with the GoPro stuck to my face. All right, let's go for a spin. I'm also going to put the foot cam, pedal cam, whatever you want to call it on, so you're able to see how badly I drive. Well, first things first, we've got turn traction control off, because I'm not a pussy. There we go. This is how I drive it like 90% of the time, the only exception being if it's absolutely pouring down with rain and I just want to get somewhere, but for the most part, this is how I drive it all the time. And it's honestly completely safe. It never like bites me when I don't expect it to or anything like that. You'll see when we start to try and do some skids that you have to really be aggressive with it. You'll see the clutch kicks, you'll see all that sort of stuff, because yeah, you've got to be quite aggressive with it. But yeah, let's go. So while we're just taking it easy, let's talk a bit about this car and why I like it so much. It's actually my favourite car that I've had for a long time. I prefer it over the A90 Supra that I had. I prefer it over the Cayman GT4. I've had so many other cars I can't remember right now. Obviously I prefer it over the Mustang because I just sold the Mustang. I'm sorry to anyone who loves Mustangs, by the way, but man, that car was fucking awful. Like, it looked good, it sounded good, but that was where the good things ended. It drove like a fucking boat. It was so unresponsive as well. Like, people go on about how responsive NA cars are, but honestly, my 1.6 litre turbo Yaris is more responsive than that Mustang was. Like, I don't know how they made a 5 litre V8 NA so dull to drive, but they did. And I know, you get the fun of revving it all the way out in an NA car, but the gears were so long and like it was so fast by the time you were getting up there, even though it didn't feel fast, but you were doing such high speeds, and even in like the top of second gear or third gear, that you never really got to rev it out that much. It wasn't like the 2.7 litre base Cayman that I had ages ago, the 981. That was good because you could thrash it all the way to the red line and you were only doing like barely any speed. You know what I mean? Like it was very slow. Whereas the Mustang was the opposite. You ended up doing quite high speeds, but it didn't really feel like it. It also very nearly killed me in the wet one time, which I've never had in any car. Like you hear people say things like that, and you just assume that they don't know how to drive. And especially Mustangs, you know, you see people crash them all the time, and again, you just assume they've got no experience with sliding a car around, or it's too much power for them, or whatever. But honestly, I have never come so close to crashing a car as many times as I did in the Mustang. Like I never have any near misses or any panic moments at all in this, or in the Supra, or in anything else. But yeah, that Mustang, fucking hell. Especially when you tried to drift it around a roundabout or something. And I know, you know, you can say that's asking for trouble. But again, I could do that all day in this and in other cars. But yeah, you try and do it in that thing, and dude, it just wants to kill you. Like it's just so unpleasant to slide around. It's very hard to explain, but it just was not good. Again, I've drifted a lot of different cars, including a 700 horsepower Audi R8. Like, I'm okay with sliding cars around here. I'm very comfortable with that. If you're new to the channel, I competed in the British Drifting Championships. Like, I'm not saying I'm a pro or the best drifter in the world or anything like that, but I'm very comfortable with a car sliding normally. And that was not the case in the Mustang. So we can overtake this van before the next little straight. We can. Good. This road is not much fun when you're stuck behind someone. But it's quite fun when you're not. Such a weird sound when you lift off the throttle. I actually thought there was something wrong with it for a while when I first got it. But it turns out it's quite a well-known characteristic for this engine in this car. I don't think other N55s do it for some reason, but this, in the M2, it does. I don't like it personally. I kind of wish it didn't do that. I might see if I can get that tuned out. Is a bit much. Like, just let me have some fun without farting constantly. Yeah, I guess I should explain what I've done to the car. Because as you might be able to tell, it's not stock. It's not crazy or anything. It's kind of your typical stage 2 build. I kind of hate it when people talk about cars in stages, but for this platform, it does at least let you know exactly what I mean, because it's just the very basic intercooler, decat downpipe, and a remat, basically. Now this is just an off-the-shelf tune from BM3, or boot mode, whatever it's called. It will be going to NVM Motorsport very soon, hopefully, to get a proper map done. And then I've got some very interesting plans for it. Let's just say I might have added a big turbo to my shopping cart last night, and yeah, we're gonna build a big single turbo for it. There you go. Spoiler alert. That won't be coming for a few months, but it should be good fun when I do eventually do it. Doesn't want to know there. So yeah, a big Garrett G3770 is what I've ordered. I know you can go bigger, but I feel like that'll be plenty on a stock engine. I mean, it's already fast. But yeah, G3770 Garrett Turbo is what I've ordered. If you're not familiar with the numbering, basically it should be good for about 770 horsepower. That's the theory. I'm not going to push it that far. I'm going to aim for like mid 600s because, again, stock engine. I'm just waiting for an upgraded high pressure fuel pump to turn up. I'll install that soon before I go get it mapped. And then, yeah, we'll get the first sort of base dyno run and the initial map done at NVM. And then, yeah, after that, in probably sometime around October, I will start on the making the manifold and everything for the big turbo. It's going to be a nightmare to fit everything in, like an absolute nightmare. I'll show you a picture of the engine bay now. That coolant bottle that you can see there, that is where I want to put a big turbo. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of blood, sweat and tears, I'm sure, put into this, but it gives me something to do, doesn't it? It gives me something to do. Like I say, it's not slow now. Like at a guess, it's about somewhere between 400 and 450 horsepower. I don't know exactly. We'll find out soon on the dyno, but I would guess around sort of 420, something like that, with the decat and the remap. Yeah, it's good fun. I just installed this P3 cars gauge the other day, so it's kind of nice. Being able to see oil temperatures and coolant temperatures now. We're at a nice 99 degrees. What's crazy in this car is that in comfort mode, it just runs at like 115 degrees. Just normally, like just cruising around, just runs at 115 degrees. Which is funny that, like, when I was drifting the 370, people, 350, sorry, not 370, people would always be like, oh my god, your oil's at 110 degrees, your engine's gonna blow up. And it's like, no. Like, modern oils can handle 110 degrees without any dramas. Like, this car wants to run at 115. I mean, I had that 350 engine up to like 120 degrees on the oil temp and never had any issues. I'm not saying that's advisable, but yeah. I think the limp mode in the stock ECU kicks in at like 130 degrees, I think it was. So I always figured, like, until you get near that, then it's not really that big of an issue, is it? But people on the internet love to tell you that things are going to break, just like the exhaust manifolds that I made. Everyone's like, oh, they're going to crack. You can't weld for shit. And they were fine. Ooh, that was a little spicy on the snap back there. But yeah, when you put it in sport mode in this, it like instantly just knocks about 10 degrees off the oil and coolant temps. I guess it just starts the fans running, and yeah, it cools down. I've had it on track. I haven't had it on track with the temperature gauge there, but it has like a built-in dummy gauge. You see, it just says OK. That's how useless it is. It does have a little bar, but it never moved from the middle the whole time I was on the track. So yeah, I feel like it handles it pretty well. I've also got an upgraded CSF radiator that I'll stick in when I do the turbo. There's loads of other stuff that I'm doing at the same time as the turbo, replacing like the water pump, a lot of common issues with these cars. I'm just going to kind of do them all in one go. I did replace the serpentine belt and the tensioner the other day because that started to wobble a little bit. I've also got like the crank hub lockout kit thing. There's quite a few common issues with these cars. But again, I'll take that for being able to handle like nearly 700 horsepower. I mean, people have done 700 horsepower on the stock engine, but they have blown them up as well. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. I think somewhere in the 600s is the sweet spot of a lot of power, but not too unreliable. I mean, we'll see. Maybe it blows up the first time I do a pull in it. We will see. Yeah, it's getting kind of dark now. Looks like it might rain soon, actually. Classic English summer. So yeah, I guess I'll shut up soon. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to update you guys on since I last spoke to you. I mean, you saw the GR Yaris. I was going to do some modifications to that. I did some basic stuff, just some bushes and stuff. But then, I don't know, it's a 1.6 litre engine, isn't it? Like, if you want to start getting any serious power out of that, it's going to be so laggy, surely. It's like, it's such a small engine. It's a 3-cylinder 1.6. Like, it just doesn't feel like a good platform to try and get loads of power out of. And you can say that you don't need loads of power and all that stuff, but I like having loads of power. So, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm just going to keep that fairly standard. I like that car. Maybe I'll do like a separate video on that, but quick spoiler alert, I like it, but I don't love it. Like, I wouldn't mind selling it sometime soon. I haven't had it that long. But I don't know what I'd replace it with at the moment, so I'm not planning to sell it, but yeah, it's not like a car that I'm absolutely in love with. Whereas this, let me maybe explain a bit more about this car, why I like this so much. I don't think this is like an amazing car for everybody. I mean, it's a good car for everybody, but I think it just suits me really well for a few reasons. One, it's a nice car, but it's not flashy. Do you know what I mean? Like, most people don't really take a second glance at it. If you know about cars, you might see it and be like, oh, it's an M2, you know? But it's not a Ferrari, it's not a Lamborghini, it's not getting loads of attention, which personally I like. I like something that's a little bit special, but not like flashy or trying to show off or whatever. So I like that. I like the amount of power it has. I like the fact that it's manual, rear-wheel drive, and it doesn't do any stupid bullshit. Like, you can just hold this button and then traction control's completely off. It doesn't cut the power when you left foot brake. That's why I can do burnouts. If you saw my videos on the Alfa Giulia Quadrifoglio that I had, that thing, even though it was like 500 horsepower rear-wheel drive, it just did not want to let you have fun. The electronic diff would open up all the time, so you couldn't even do like a little slide out a junction half the time. It cut the power as soon as you press the brake while you're on throttle. It just wasn't a fun car, and again, it was auto as well. So this, I'm really glad BMW still make manual rear-wheel drive cars. It's a shame the new M2 looks like dog shit, but yeah, I mean, that's a real shame, because that would be like my perfect next car, really, but I can't bring myself to buy something that ugly, so I won't. But yeah, so I love this because it's just got a bit of a sense of humour, you know, it's a bit of fun. You can do that, and it'll do it all day, and it's fine, and it's not like super snappy, it hasn't got too much grip. Like some of the, like the M4 was a bit more snappy, because I guess it's probably got wider tyres. I haven't compared the tyres, but it's probably got wider tyres on the rear. And they just, yeah, more, I know people love to say that like M cars are designed to slide around. I feel like this one is, but other M cars I've driven, like the M4 I had, didn't feel like it wanted to slide around. And same with like the Cayman GT4, did not want to slide at all. It was just, a lot of these modern sports cars are just designed to grip, which makes sense because that's what most people want to do. But for me, I like to slide around, I like it to be playful. So this is kind of perfect. It's got a good amount of grip to the point where you don't feel like you're going to slide off the road when you're driving it fast and like normally, and you can do track days and whatever in it, and it's fine. I'm still on the Pilot Supersport tyres, by the way. What was I saying? I got distracted. Basically, I really like this car. It just does everything well. It's got a nice interior, it's got all the mod cons you could want, you know, heated seats and air conditioning and sat-nav and all the normal stuff you'd expect from modern cars. But then it'll also go really fast and do burnouts and do skids, and it's manual. The manual gearbox as well, I think, is a nice balance between, like, it doesn't feel amazing. Like the Cayman GT4 gearbox was way nicer to actually use, but this is like better for actually just getting into gear quickly. The Cayman GT4 and the Yaris gearbox, again, they're more sort of notchy and more sort of fun to use, but they don't seem to like to be rushed, and like I find myself missing gears sometimes in them, whereas that never ever happens in this. Like this, you can just slam it into gear, both going up and down the box, with no problems ever. And yeah, it feels a little kind of rubbery, but you kind of get used to that, and it doesn't really bother me at all now. Crap. See what's not to like about that? She gets a bit leery sometimes though. I'm getting a bit too carried away with the clutch kicks, I think. But yeah, TLDR, I really like this car. I'm going to stick a 700 horsepower turbo on it in the next couple of months. I sold the Mustang because it's a fucking boat. and the GR Yaris is decent, but I'm not in love with it. I will say it was quite good on a track day, although quite understeery. I need to get an alignment, but yeah, it was decent on a track day. I'm still always impressed with how cars like this and the Yaris can just handle track days like no drama. Now, I remember the R8, I would take that to a track day, and after like one track day, or maybe two, I'd have to replace the brake pads and the brake discs. And like the M235i that I had a few years back, literally 2 laps into a track day, the brake pedal would just go straight to the floor. You'd have to replace the fluid to stop it doing that. So yeah, like I'm always impressed when I can take a car like this and the Yaris and the Cayman GT4 and stuff like that to a track day, thrash it all day on track, and then just drive it home, and the next day it's as if nothing's happened. I mean, like it just drives like normal. But yeah, that continues to impress me with modern cars. But like I say, it's getting kind of dark now, so I'll shut up. We'll do a little blast on the way home. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. No idea what that's going to be, but I will leave you with the sound of some Braps.